Welcome to the IEP online course. This week, we will talk about the project proposal. So first, let's talk about what a project is. The goal of a project is to give people the experience of completing a variety of different assignments that develop their reading, writing, listening, and speaking skills, but that all focus towards answering a particular question. So the student needs to ask a question and then look for answers to this question through reading material, watching films, interacting with other people, and then ultimately sharing what has been learned that helped answer that question. So essentially, a project involves doing some research. So what are the research or the kinds of sources that you'll interact with? You could read articles, you could watch videos, but you can also interact with people online or where you live. You could conduct interviews with people near you. You could also conduct surveys, either people near you or even people who live in other places. Because our course is focusing on a water theme, you'll want to ask a question that is related to water. Let's look at some example questions that you might be interested in. So one possible question is a question about bottled water. Is it good to buy water in bottles? What are the advantages and disadvantages of bottled water? Another question might be about buying water in your city. Most cities will provide water to people who live in the city. Is that affordable? Is it expensive? Can people buy water from their city? And is it safe? And is it clean? People might also have questions about there being too much water in their city due to the climate. Some parts of the world have problems with flooding. When it rains very hard, the rain might enter houses and buildings and streets, and it does not drain away very easily. And so that can cause problems for farming, for living, for traveling. So you may have questions about what can we do to reduce or get rid of the negative problems with flooding. Or you might have the opposite problem. You might be interested in wanting to learn more about regions that have drought. Drought is when there is not enough water, when it does not rain very much in the area. So you might have questions about what can we do to conserve or save water? What are some ways that help a community or a city save water? You might also have questions about just how much water should we use? How much water is being used by the average person? Should we drink lots of water every day? What are some other ways that we use water for cleaning and other purposes? Are we using too much water, or are we not using enough water to keep ourselves healthy? These are just some of the questions you might ask about water. If you have other questions about water, you can use those for your project. This week, your main goal is to write a project proposal. And you can use this form that is linked on Canvas. You need to write down your name, you need to write down the date, and then write down 1 or 2 questions you have about water that you want to try answering this semester. You should also think about who the audience is for your question, or what purpose would people want to know the answer to your question. Just write a couple sentences to think about that. For example, if I had the question about flooding, what can we do to reduce problems with flooding? I think the people who would want to know about that are maybe city managers and other designers who work to make sure that cities are safe for people. Information sources, here's where you would write down some places or people or internet sources that you think might help you. Again, if I'm thinking about my flooding one, I might want to do some internet searches to see if there are some good resources that discuss flooding and how to reduce flooding problems. And so I might write some of those down. In terms of people, I might want to look and see who is in charge of public works or public safety in my city. And I might also write down the name of that person. I might find out what their telephone or email address is and include it in my box that I might want to contact that person. I might also want to talk to people I know who have been affected by flooding and ask them what are the negative things that happened to them. In my city, we recently had a flood just 6 months ago. And so I might want to talk to some of those people who were negatively impacted by the flood. Once you have completed your form, you can download a copy and upload it to Canvas. Just remember that when you try to access this form, you cannot edit it because it is my form. You have to make a copy. So if you go to the File menu and go down to Make a Copy, then you can have your own copy. You just need to make sure that you are logged into a Google account. Otherwise, you cannot make a copy. If you have any problems completing your project proposal, please let me know. I look forward to seeing what project ideas you are interested in.